Archives. Welcome to the Archives. I guess you heard I'm Dave Smith. I actually started the Archives back in 1970. So as you came in, you probably noticed the wardrobe. That's the original prop from the Chronicles of Narnia. It was actually made in New Zealand where we made the movie. And the carvings on it are actually elements of the plot of the film. There's a special display for tribute for Annette over there with some of her costumes. The first tall case there has a display of early Disney merchandise. None of this was made by Disney. We simply licensed our characters to manufacturers of toys and games and clothing. And it was mutually beneficial because here you have a company making a product. They were able to put a very popular cartoon character on their product. Of course, that helped them sell more product. And when they sell more product, they have to pay a higher fee to Disney. So, well, it was a tin box. And it turned out this was the box that Elias Disney, his grandfather, had kept all of his important documents and papers in, and they were still there. And so we got such things as Elias and Flora Disney's marriage certificate from 1888. Notice where they were married. Kismet, Florida. Now, Kismet doesn't exist anymore. I've gone looking for it. It's not there. It's out in the middle of a field somewhere. But it's about 50 miles north of the Walt Disney World property. So a lot of people don't realize that we had this early connection with southern Florida, central Florida. I'll leave these out here, go and take some pictures of them later on. My favorite item in here is this postcard. It's written to Flora Disney. She's over in St. Louis taking care of her brother who's ill, and Walter, her son, is writing to her. And he says, "Dear Mother, everything is going well here. I got 100 in my grammar today. Glad to hear Larry is much better. Loving, Walter. P.S. 10 below here." On the back, he did a drawing.
Oh.
Now, a lot of people have said that Walt Disney himself was not an accomplished artist. But you see a drawing like this by a 15-year-old, he had art talent. And I think that was useful for him throughout his career. Probably the most significant item that was in here was Walt's baptismal certificate. There is no birth certificate for Walt, so this is the closest we come to an official document of his birth. I'll read it to you. Certificate of baptism. This certifies that Walter Elias Disney, a son of Elias Disney and his wife Flora Disney, was born on the 5th day of December 1901, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Received Christian baptism on the 8th day of June in the year of our Lord 1902 at St. Paul Congregational Church, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Signed W.R. Parr, pastor. Does anybody know the significance of W.R. Parr? There's a legend about this. Whether it's true or not, we've never been able to really prove it, but Elias was very active in the church, and it so happened at one time that both the minister's wife and Elias's wife got pregnant at the same time. And they had a little bet going. Whoever had the baby first would name him after the other one. So if Reverend Parr had a baby first, they'd name him Elias. And if Elias had the baby first, they'd name him Walter. W.R. Parr. So this was the man that Paul was named after. So, trivia question. Disneyland opened on July 17, 1955. Could you go that day?
No.
It was an invitational press preview, and here's the ticket. And some tickets were forged also.
So is that a real one or a forgery?
This is a real one. On the back it had a map. Nobody knew where Disneyland was. And also a warning about we're doing our television special that day, so you better get here on time. Even more scarce than that ticket, I think, is the parking permit, because it's gummed on the back, and you would have lick this and affixed it onto your windshield, and you'd have to scrape it off. So I doubt that many of these have survived. Luckily, we had a few here at in the company. Now, normally, I would show you, I've done this for the previous tours and other months, the ticket number 1 for Disneyland that Roy Disney bought on the next day when it was open to the public. But it's been on display out at the Reagan Library, and we just closed that exhibit this week, so it hasn't come back yet. So I thought I would do you one that was almost equivalent. This is ticket number 1 from Walt Disney World. Would you believe 7 adventures plus your admission for $4.75. It had your transportation ticket on the front. That's something they needed at Walt Disney World in those days to get from the parking lot to the main gate. And then once you got to the main gate, there's your main gate admission ticket, and then your A, B, C, D, E tickets for the attractions. So they changed their ticketing system by the time Epcot opened, and here's ticket number 1 for Epcot. Walt wanted a guidebook on opening day, and there was no time to get in to photograph the park because the construction was taking place right up until opening. So all of the illustrations in this guidebook are the drawings, the concept drawings by the Imagineers. Walt also said, I want to sell this for $0.25. And his publishing people said, but Walt, it's going to cost you more than $0.25 to publish this. And he said, no, you've got a good marketing tool here. Because if this is only $0.25, everybody's going to buy one. And they're going to take it home, and they're going to put it on their coffee table, and their friends and their relatives and their neighbors are going to see it, and then they're going to want to come to Disneyland too. And I think it worked. This was the first photo guidebook. Once they got in and opened and had a chance to get in and take pictures. So it's this came out in the fall of 1955. Everything's very bare. Look at the castle, how bare it is around the castle. So I brought out an Oscar. So when I finish here, if anybody wants to hold an Oscar, you're welcome to do so. Take your picture with it. This is one for White Wilderness, which was one of our true life adventure films that we made back in the 50s. We had a series of 13 of these true life adventures. 8 of them won the Oscar as Best Documentary. So that's a pretty good record when you get 8 Oscars out of a series that has only 13 films in it. And of course, I wanted to plug my book. I know some of you probably have bought it already, but this is a compilation of my Ask Dave questions. I started that column actually in the Disney Channel magazine way back in 1983, and I've been answering these questions ever since. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to compile. Yes. So I still do the column for the D23 website.